What is up, Steelers Nation? Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. I'm Noah Strackbine, joined always by my main guys, Steven Thompson and Nick Martin. Find us on youtube.com/All Steelers Talk or subscribe anywhere you get your podcast. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they're 6-3. They are about to head to Cleveland, Ohio to face on the Browns and a backup quarterback in a situation that is only getting crazier by the day. Not only will they face Dorian Thompson-Robinson this week, but they could avoid a starting quarterback next week as well. We'll dive into that, plus what it means to get a rookie quarterback for the defense this year, some changes to the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, and some surprising starters that will make their way onto the field in Week 11. As always, our keys to victory and predictions for Week 11. And as everybody's been waiting all week long, we're giving away not one, but two signed jerseys ahead of Week 11. You guys all tossed in your hashtag ASTs, your entries to the raffle this week. Again, we hit 20,000 subscribers. We cannot thank you guys enough. It's been nothing but love. And hopefully we just continue to bring you guys as much good, great Steelers content as we possibly can. It is a beautiful day here in the city of Pittsburgh. Nick, we'll start with you. How you feeling, my friend?
I'm feeling all right. It was interesting last night because I was looking forward to a great football game, and then all of a sudden Joe Burrow has this injury, and they apparently knew about it the day before, and I'm like, man, I wanted a good game. I know this is a win-win for the Steelers, regardless of like Baltimore or Pitt or the Bengals losing, but it's just a bit of a bummer as a football fan to not get a great game out of that, what was supposed to be a great game.
I won't lie to you. I'm always a fan of Thursday night football games being out of reach at a time where I can go to bed at a reasonable hour. You know, like
I get
those last second 1 o'clock in the morning type games. I'm like, oh, man, this is nice, but my eyes are like this, and I'm not feeling great for that 6 o'clock alarm. Steven, you yourself had a late night covering Pitt last night. Did you run into Mike Tomlin? And how you feel, my friend?
I did not run into Mike Tomlin, but I do know people who did. I can confirm secondhand reporting that he was at the stadium. And his kid played real well too. I think he had like 3 catches or something like that.
2 catches, 30 some yards. I checked it this morning.
Yeah, but didn't get the win. Pitt football, we're back. And I'm fired up. You know, I'm really hoping I win one of those jerseys. And then so I'm looking forward to the drawing at the end. But yeah, I'm also excited to get out to Cleveland this weekend. This is like, you look at the Sunday schedule. I mean, this is one of, if not the best game in the NFL this weekend. I mean, other than probably Chiefs Eagles on Monday, but like on Sunday, Steelers Browns, I feel like is the place to be.
I agree. Even with the backup quarterback, like with everything on the line, so much heading into the postseason. Maybe Joe Flacco is going to be on the sideline. Who knows? Such a good storyline. It is going to be a good one. Jillian, my fiance, and her entire family asked all week long. They were like, "Am I allowed to enter the contest?" I was like, "You are technically, but chances are I'm not giving it to you." It would just be weird. It's not be like, oh, Big Joe Sacramento, here we go. No, chances are they would have won both of them, and then I would have just taken them back, hung them on my wall somewhere, but just like barely out of camera's reach. Either way, we do have 2 winners that we will announce at the end of the podcast. Very excited, and congratulations to both of you guys. We appreciate everybody who entered the contest. There were a lot of entries, so we appreciate you guys. Let's dive into some Pittsburgh Steelers football, and we'll start in the AFC North. Joe Burrow goes down last night against the Baltimore Ravens with a wrist sprain. There is plenty going on right now. The NFL actually launched an investigation into the Cincinnati Bengals after the Bengals social media team, shout out Twitter, posted a video of Joe Burrow walking into the stadium. He was wearing a wrist brace. They quickly took it down as soon as everybody was like, whoa, what is this going on? And then in the first half, Joe Burrow leaves with that wrist injury after throwing a touchdown pass. And the rest of the game, every time they showed the camera, his wrist is ginormous. He is clearly in some pain. Hard to believe that this is something that just popped up out of nowhere if you connect the dots there. Steven, we'll start with you, man. You or Nick, you got a first first glance there as it happens. So we'll start with you, actually. Joe Burrow goes down. Did you believe it? And what do you make? What goes on from here? Do the Pittsburgh Steelers, do the Cincinnati Bengals lose a draft pick? What are we looking at?
So I don't know if they're going to lose a draft pick for this, but they probably should give it to the next team on their schedule because we could use a little bit of an extra
next
draft
team
pick
on their schedule.
Yeah, exactly. But no, when it comes to that injury, it looked pretty bad overall because Burrow could barely grip the football and he tried releasing the ball on the sideline and then he just came up grimacing holding his hand and you just have to wonder just how much this will affect Joe Burrow going forward and whether or not the Cincinnati Bengals will even have him. I mean, they're already in a huge hole. They're 5-5. They're 0-3 in the division, record-wise. It's not looking great for them. And at this point, they might just have to shut down Burrow for the season at this rate because it's almost getting to the point. He started out hurt with his calf injury. And he's probably still nursing that just somewhat. And now the hand that. This has been a season from hell for the Cincinnati Bengals. And that's not even counting the T. Higgins.
And Jamar Chase dealing with a back injury. This is not the place to be for Cincinnati. Steven, you on board with shutting down Joe Burrow? And if Jake Browning makes a start for the Pittsburgh Steelers, man, or against the Pittsburgh Steelers, how good does this get for that defense in the next 2 weeks?
I don't think I'm on board with shutting Burrow down.
If you're the Cincinnati Bengals, you're not shutting down Joe Burrow. You're just
I don't think so. I mean, because also that calf seemed like it was pretty all right. I mean, he started real slow, but then he seemed to get more healthy and seemed to start to figure things out. Just the more he could move around and push off that calf and everything like that. So I don't know if I'm on board with shutting him down for the year.
It was a bit of an exaggeration.
Yeah. I was definitely joking with that situation.
But yeah, man, Jake Browning's there's no way that he's not getting eaten alive if he has to face the Pittsburgh Steelers in a couple of weeks, right? I mean, Mike Tomlin eats rookie quarterbacks for lunch. This would not be ideal for the Bengals at all, even with all the skill that they've got around him on offense. I just don't think he's got what it takes to, or maybe he does, and I just haven't seen it. But there's nothing to really indicate that. If Jake Browning's in there at quarterback, that the Steelers have to worry about, an offensive explosion or anything. This is fortunate for the Steelers, but I mean, it's you never root for injuries or anything, but the Steelers, their back half of the year just became wide open. You're facing a rookie quarterback next week. You're probably going to face not a rookie, but a backup the week after. I mean, and those were two of your three hardest games down the stretch of the year. You got 8 left, and two of those three of those 7 hardest games, 2 of them are going to be against non-starting quarterbacks. So I think you start to lick your chops a little bit if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers seeing this news from yesterday.
Yeah, and on top of that, they're both AFC North games, which is huge, especially carrying a 2-0. You could be 4-0 in the next 2 weeks in the AFC North. That's ginormous heading into, especially 2-0 against the Cleveland Browns. You just wrapped up that series. You're already 1-0 against Baltimore. It's as prime as it gets for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I had everybody tweeting at me, tweeting under every comment possible, just the Steelers' lucky run continues. Yeah, sometimes you got to get lucky, and the Pittsburgh Steelers, man, they are getting as lucky as possible, and they'll take it. You could go ask Mike Tomlin today, hey, man, would you rather face a healthy Joe Burrow, or would you rather get lucky and have to face Jake Browning? And 10 times out of 10, he'd be like, well, I don't want anybody to get hurt, but get Jake Browning, thank you very much, Jake Browning. He might give you a little, as competitors, we thrive off of, we want the best competition, but
we run to that.
Yeah, but he's lying. Everybody there is 100% lying. It'd much rather be Jake Browning. He was sacked 3 times last night against the Ravens. That's not ideal, but great for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It would be huge. And to start that run off, they'll face DTR on Sunday. He replaces PJ Walker. We talked about him on Wednesday. PJ Walker, man, he's cool. He's a good story. he hasn't really been playing the greatest, but Dorian Thompson-Robinson also hasn't been playing the greatest in that short run. I will say the biggest difference is last time he started, he got the news like what? It was like 24 hours beforehand that he was going to go out there. And it was all like a mystery. And then they tossed him out there. And then this time he's got all week to prepare. He says it's going to be different. I mean, Steven, we'll go back to you. You watched DTR in the Sun Bowl last winter. What'd you see from this guy? And is there anything that you see that goes, maybe he's a bit of a threat for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Well, yeah, the last time he played a football team from Pittsburgh, he did not look very impressive. I believe he threw 3 interceptions against Pitt in the Sun Bowl.
Yeah.
They were in his head a little bit. I mean, that's, I think, the thing I come back to the most is that he talked some trash at the beginning of the game. Pitt talked it back, and then it kind of the game didn't unfold DTR's way. I mean, he was up for a little bit, and then it all came kind of crashing down, and, Pitt enjoyed that. They enjoyed talking their trash back to him, but there's some stuff to like about DTR. He's mobile. He's a good athlete. I think he's got a strong arm, but the accuracy, the decision-making, it can be a little erratic sometimes. I know they liked this kid during the preseason. I thought he had a strong, I remember seeing his numbers, and I thought they looked real good, but I mean, any guy getting thrown into his first couple starts as a backup in the NFL, that's going to be tough for a rookie. I feel like not everyone's going to be CJ Stroud. In fact, 99.9% of the people in the world are not going to be CJ Stroud. So, I mean, it's going to, even if DTR is a good quarterback down the road, it's going to take some time, and it's going to take more time than it'll take to get him to Sunday. I mean, he's raw, I think that's what you come back to the most, is that he's got a good athlete. He's a good athlete with good tools, but he's going to need a little bit of time, I think, in 1 week of preparation, especially facing this defense. Like, I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah, and on top of that, the Browns are missing both of their starting offensive tackles, and then maybe DeJuan Jones, their backup right tackle, and then Wyatt Teller also popped up on the injury report with an ankle injury, I believe. Not good for the Cleveland Browns as a whole. Nick, what did you see in DTR? What have you seen in DTR? Does he worry you at all? Or do you look at it the other way and just say, man, this is as advantageous as it comes for the Pittsburgh Steelers defense?
I don't think it would be as advantageous if PJ Walker was starting, because I do think he was very much a liability, no matter what you'll say about, the Browns were just winning when he was in. And
so you're saying, PJ, you're saying you'd rather, if for the Pittsburgh Steelers' sake,
I would have rather had PJ Walker.
Okay.
Yeah. But Dorian Thompson-Robinson, come out of UCLA, one of the things about him was he had a really good arm talent. Like, he's one of those guys who could really spin it. The ball really flies off his hands. But, and he can move pretty well. He was constantly improving throughout his time at UCLA. Almost Josh Dobbs-esque in his.
That is not the comparison Steelers fans want to hear right now. You're not
I know.
Favors.
Yeah, no, I don't think they want to hear about Minnesota Vikings legend right now, Josh Dobbs.
Facts.
But Thompson-Robinson, the little bit of similarities there with the arm talent, the ability to move, and just the constant improvement he's made throughout his college career. Obviously, getting thrown in on a short week, like, everyone's gonna sink in that mode, in that type of moment. But when it comes to things I saw out of him in college, that the improvement, the work ethic, the character, were all very strong parts of his game. I could see him, coming out this game being a lot better, especially considering, he had some really good moments in preseason. Obviously, preseason doesn't mean that much in context, but when it comes to, what you're expecting out of Cleveland, definitely could be a bigger improvement over PJ Walker. So I'd prepare for anything. Would definitely try to keep him within the pocket. Don't let him scramble. But yeah, he'll definitely be an improvement over PJ Walker's, my opinion.
Do you view this as any worry? Because everybody, literally every single person I know, has brought up all of the backup / bad quarterbacks that the Pittsburgh Steelers have lost to. I mean, Nick Berlansky, our producer, brought one up this morning before we jumped on here. Do you have any fear that this is the next? Oh man, the Steelers! I can't believe they lost to this guy.
Man, everyone is talking right now about the fact that they're going to face Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and then they could potentially face Jake Browning next
Yeah.
week. And that, oh yeah, they're lucking into this like perfectly. And I'm just like, these are the types of games that every real Steelers fans know that these are the types of games that are going to give them heart attacks down the line.
Yes.
So no, nothing is guaranteed in the NFL, obviously, but it definitely is advantageous to not have to deal with their starting quarterbacks in these situations. But, there's no guarantee. And sometimes they get caught, looking too far ahead in these moments. They can't do that here. They got to win if they want to win the division, which they still have a shot at doing. They got to keep it rolling.
Yeah. I agree. I'm not super concerned about DTR. What I saw in the Sun Bowl last year, just for when he was in there, wasn't the best. What I saw in his first start wasn't the best. And I just I think that maybe he's got potential, but at the same time, he's still a 5th round rookie. You have to have a bar somewhere. This isn't Kevin Stefanski's a good coach, but he's not Kyle Shanahan. This isn't Brock Purdy. I'm not in the same. I don't put them in the same group, and I don't worry about them the same way. I kind of view it as, just like I said, very advantageous moment for the Pittsburgh Steelers over the next 2 weeks to really take a strong hold on that second place in the AFC North. And, something happens to Baltimore over that time, that's huge too. And they just lost Mark Andrews. Lamar Jackson's dealing with an injury as well. You just never know. You really never know. Guys, we have gear. New merchandise from AST to Mooth, Bleed Black and Gold, Kenny to George, and plenty of others now at our new website, blackandgoldapparel.com. And the coolest part, 50% of all profits at our store go to UPMC Children's Hospital here in Pittsburgh to make sure that we are giving back. We can't thank you guys enough, and we want to show you guys how thankful and how grateful we are for everything by making sure that we do our part to make the community here in Pittsburgh better. Go check out everything. We tried to make everything new and improved, from our designs to our quality of sweatshirts and t-shirts and everything else. Let us know and check everything out at blackandgoldapparel.com. And as always, thank you guys for everything. Meanwhile, the Pittsburgh Steelers have some injuries of their own. They're probably going to be without Minkah Fitzpatrick and Keanu Neal in Week 11. Montravius Adams will also be out. And as we all know, Quan Alexander joined Cole Holcomb on injured reserve. 2 surprising names are likely to take the roles of starters this week in Cleveland. While everybody's talking about Mark Robinson and it's his opportunity, it kind of sounds like Michael Walker is going to be the guy that gets the call on Sunday. And then at safety, while Elijah Riley has been my guy all season long, I don't disagree with this move, but it feels like Trenton Thompson, practice squad safety, former San Diego State guy, former New York Giants, I believe, is going to get the start for the safety, or at safety, next to DeMonte KZ. Steven, 2 practice squad guys getting the call up this week into the starting role. Was it what you expected, and how worrisome is this for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah, I'd say I guess it was what I expected, because, there's just not really anywhere else to turn.
No.
I think the thing you can be encouraged by, especially thinking about Michael Walker, is something that Mike Tomlin talked about in his Tuesday press conference, which is that, not everyone that you see on practice squad is, some late round rookie that just got drafted this year and that they still got to, develop and get fresh. Like, practice squad is a way to hold on to guys that maybe you don't have a room for quite yet on the active roster, but are good enough to play, are NFL caliber. And that's how I feel about Michael Walker. And to a lesser degree, I think Trenton Thompson is an NFL caliber player. I think he showed some flashes during the preseason that were encouraging. But yeah, this is, and Michael Walker, we've been over this a bunch of times. Like, he is definitely an NFL caliber player, but at the same time, there's a reason these guys are on the practice squad.
Yes.
You're not. You might be an NFL caliber player if you're on the practice squad, but there is a reason you are there. This is an obvious downgrade from who they've had before, or who they would have had in these spots if they were fully healthy. And I don't know. Thompson worries me a little bit more than Walker. There's just less of a track record there.
Yeah.
But look, if you're going to roll Trenton Thompson out there, I mean, this is the week to do it against, a rookie quarterback that you're a little shaky about, that you don't really know what exactly he's going to give you. And then, I think Walker will be perfectly capable of coming in and stuffing that fit in the run a little bit. I mean, because that's what I think Cleveland's going to do a whole lot, is just try to pound the rock. And
Yeah.
as long as Michael Walker can see the ball and hit the ball, then he's all right. Thompson, I feel like, will have a similarly not easy job, but an easier job, just given the way that I think Cleveland's going to try to attack the Steelers.
Yeah, I agree. Walker doesn't really worry me. If anything, like, I'm kind of excited. I view this as an opportunity where Michael Walker come in here and maybe possibly, like, just like slowly create himself a space in Pittsburgh and say, man, maybe you guys should consider me, because everybody's talking about, oh, you got to go draft an inside linebacker. You got to go this, you got to go that. I don't think that's on the Pittsburgh Steelers plans. Like, I think that if they were looking at the inside linebacker room right now, they want Michael Walker to work out so that next year they could just stick with the Landon Roberts, Cole Holcomb, and Michael Walker, and then have Mark Robinson come off the bench, and there's your four, and they feel totally fine about that situation. And Quan Alexander will be a free agent. He only signed a 1-year deal, but the rest of them, I feel like that's, don't fix something that's not broken. And unfortunately they got injured, but it was definitely not broken. It was a lot better than it's been in a while. Nick, your thoughts on, well, I guess Walker and Thompson. We haven't talked to you all week. And any level of concern for either of those guys? Any surprise that they went with either of those guys over some guys on the active roster?
So I don't think that Michael Walker starting would be a surprise, just because he has excellent spatial feel in zone coverage, just really good as a spot dropper, understanding, can really recognize routes in front of him and behind and towards the behind him. Really good example. He had a play versus the Rams where they call play action. He gets depth pretty fast, despite the fact he felt for the initial play action fake, and he's still able to get his hand on the ball. He tips it up and intercepts Matthew Stafford. It was a terrific play. He's just got really good hand-eye coordination, even on blitzes. The main issue with him is he's just not really a block shedder, so he needs like a clean lane to be able to fill the run mostly. So you might see him struggle in that regard compared to like what you'd get from Quan Alexander.
Yeah.
But he's definitely a player that can start in a rotation. I would definitely not say he's like a starting caliber player, but he's definitely a guy who you can rotate and feel pretty decently about in coverage. As for Trenton Thompson, he wasn't really a well-tested athlete coming out of San Diego State. There's a reason he went undrafted. But 23 pass deflections, 4 interceptions, and 31 starts at San Diego State. Ball skills were definitely a big part of his game. Had some pretty nasty hits. Like, he was almost like a tone setter for his team at San Diego State. So I could see why they want to go with him for that. And he's a guy who worked his way up. He blocked punts and he was a gunner on special teams for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And that aspect of his game definitely fits for this what the Steelers want in like a depth guy. So they probably thinking that type of tone setting would just be better than having a guy like Elijah Riley out there as the starting safety. So we'll see how it goes, but I'm a little worried about him in coverage because I just don't see a very fluid nor a very rangy athlete out there.
Do you see this? I would imagine Patrick Peterson gets some reps at safety this week. You see that as a viable option, as like a backup or a rotational piece for them?
I don't know if I'd necessarily call it like reliable, but it's definitely something they could try and do. Maybe mix up their post-snap looks. Like pre-snap, they could maybe drop into like they could like show Trenton Thompson like for like deeper, and then he ends up coming up like maybe to guard, and then Patrick Peterson goes out as the deep spot dropper. There's definitely things you could potentially do there, but overall, I'm not really thinking about Patrick Peterson right now as a safety, because right now their corner situation, you want to keep him there as much as he can be a liability. We still saw that length, those those ball skills really come in handy on that interception that he forced when he was able to deflect the pass up and then it was intercepted. that's just the type of player that Patrick Peterson can still be, even if his speed is not what it used to be.
Yeah, that's everybody I ask says the same thing. It's like, yeah, I'd love to see Patrick Peterson as safety, but a month ago we were talking about how you got to get him out of corner, and now you're sitting there going, no, you got to keep him. You got to keep him at corner. You can't make a change. I agree. I see some Patrick Peterson moving around just because they're not going to give up on Levi Wallace. Like, he's not going to be off the field completely. And you don't want, like, if you're going to pick, I guess it's the worst, the best of the worst, but you're going Levi Wallace over Trenton Thompson most times, and they're gonna try to work that in. I agree. I am a little worried about Trenton Thompson. Michael Walker doesn't really bug me that much, just because on running downs, which is most downs with the Cleveland Browns, Landon Roberts will fill that gap, and I think Mark Robinson has some potential to. He gets lost in the hole, but he still goes a million miles an hour, and if you could come up with a couple of plays here and there, it's not the worst case scenario. Thompson, on the other hand, my bigger worry is if Thompson plays, who is your backup and how much are you going to have to rely on them, because Elijah Riley wasn't good enough to start. Miles Killebrew isn't really a defensive guy. You're very, very thin at safety depth. Like, are you going to roll Darius Rush out there? It could just, man, it brings back memories like Cody Sensenbaugh going in there, Ross Cockrell days. You know what I mean? Where you're just like, anybody play defense, because we're gonna need some DBs back there because we're dealing with some injuries. Yeah, definitely.
Getting the war flashbacks to Valentino Blake.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, we've been here before. The Steelers have done this before, and it works sometimes, and then sometimes you're just like, oh my gosh, what's happening right now? It gets real bad real fast. Luckily, like we said, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, 3 interceptions in his first start. Hopefully he makes up, or hopefully he does not make up for that in this one. But that is hands down the biggest news for the Pittsburgh Steelers, making 2 surprising moves. And we'll see what happens as we head into the weekend, as we do every Friday. Got to talk about some keys to victory here. The Pittsburgh Steelers are on a 2-game winning streak. Got to make that known. Got to also make it known that the AFC North is wide open, and that this is when Mike Tomlin plays coaches his best football. We've seen this every single year. Cleveland Browns, Pittsburgh Steelers, week 11, rookie quarterback out there for Cleveland. Steven, we'll start with you. Your key to victory for the Pittsburgh Steelers in this one.
I think my key to victory is that the front seven's got to tee off just in every phase. You mentioned Mark Robinson being able to play 100 miles an hour and really go hit people. I think everyone on that front seven has to be able to do that, and I think they're going to get every opportunity to pin their ears back and rush the passer and give everything they've got against a pretty strong Cleveland running game. I don't think there's going to be threats over the top, quite honestly. I mean, you got to take care of Amari Cooper, sure, but like, can Dorian Thompson-Robinson get him the ball? Like, make him find out. Like, let's really put him to the test, and let's make him prove that he's a player, at least early. So, against the run game that is coming, that they're going to rely on, and then against a rookie quarterback, tee off, get after him. You got to win in the trenches on defense, I think, to win this game, and that's how you, I think, also put this game away early.
Yeah.
I think you can make this get ugly if you are, if you're really getting after them defensively on the front seven. So that's my key to victory is tee off front seven.
Yeah, I like that. You sound off. You have a great ability to stuff the run. If you make the Browns one-dimensional throwing a football in this game, I mean, things could get very dangerous very fast for the Pittsburgh Steelers, or for the Browns in favor of the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's exactly what you're looking for. I think if you asked anybody in the locker room, they tell you the same thing. Nick, we'll toss it over to you here. Your key to victory, week 11, Pittsburgh Steelers, Cleveland Browns.
So I think Steven nailed it with the front seven being able to tee off and make Dorian Thompson-Robinson uncomfortable. Biggest thing, though, I want to see compared to what they did last week against Green Bay, they weren't rotating TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith enough with their backup edge rushers, and they almost looked gassed in that game. Like, they were just not getting home like they usually do, and they seemed to really struggle just getting pressure. So I'd like to see a little bit more Nick Herbig and Marcus Golden, just keep those guys fresh. So then by the time Renegades playing in the fourth quarter, those guys are able to make the big time play, force the strip sack. But I really want to see Pittsburgh almost play the way they have been. I'm not so worried about having Kenny Pickett win them the game. I almost think they just need to stay committed to what's working and almost make Cleveland beat themselves in the situation. Like Cleveland is, they're like -4 in turnover margin, which is among
Oof.
some of the, it's just among the worst in the league.
Yeah.
And you know, Pittsburgh is one of the best.
Yeah.
They're tied for the best. They were tied for the best going into this week with the Cincinnati Bengals at +10 turnover margin, which is like, that's a huge reason why
Yeah,
you're
it's
winning. So
unreal.
you don't have to force Kenny Pickett to be that guy. Run the football with Jalen Warren and Najee Harris, and maybe utilize a little bit more play action. But I know that's a very hard thing for Matt Canada to do.
I was going to say,
So,
come on, let's be realistic with these keys to
yeah,
victory, okay?
yeah, we got to be a bit more realistic there. But I think the plan is simple: pressure, mistake free, sprinkle in some play action for the love of God.
Nick, I want to start with you, but I want to ask both of you guys this. What are you looking for out of Kenny in this game?
Oh, you're asking me first? Okay.
Yeah.
So Kenny Pickett, when it comes to him, I just kind of want to just see him just be, quote, a game manager. Like that's
do you think he has been one yet?
At times, but I think he hasn't really been managing his decision making as well as this box score might say. There was that play that didn't count as an interception where he had a very easy low read to go to in Connor Hayward, and then he elected to wait on it, and then he threw to Deontay Johnson, and it looked like the ball should have gotten picked off.
Yes.
You want to see him stay more committed to the yak in that situation. But also, like, the thing with Pickett in those big third down situations, you saw how very often he was checking the ball down. He wasn't really looking to his primary reads as much, even when the protection looked solid. So he's not quite trusting his protection, which is a problem going back to his Pitt days, obviously. But I'm a little okay with that going into this game. I don't think this is a game that he necessarily has to win. He just has to make sure that he's not the reason that they lose the game.
Yes. Okay. I like that. I agree. I don't know if I agree. I don't know if at this point I've labeled him a game manager, but I think that might be the best case scenario for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steven, what are you looking for out of Kenny in this one?
Yeah, I'm a little bit with Nick. This is kind of along the same lines, but I don't know, just win the football game, man. Like I'm a little over I'm a little over doing like an evaluation, a detailed evaluation of Kenny every week. I mean, win football games, and I think we'll be all right. I mean, they've got so many other strong parts of their team. I think especially on offense, the way they're running the ball, like you don't really need Kenny to be whoever the hell Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady or whoever. I mean, don't be stupid, like the stats have to line up, and your numbers are reflective of how well you play a lot of the time, but just win the game. Don't turn the ball over, things like that. Like get us into the right play every time at the line. Like that's the stuff I want. I don't need him bombing throws downfield. I've kind of resigned myself to being okay with that he's not going to be that type of quarterback. So just win the game, man. Just win the game. And I think that's, I mean, people will complain all week about how Kenny's not doing enough, but as long as they win the game, I feel like you can listen to those complaints and you can live with them.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna put a stat on it, and I might be shooting for the stars here on this one, but I'm gonna say what I'm looking for out of Kenny is just to throw a touchdown. Just throw a touchdown.
Wow.
Maybe your third touchdown in 7 games if you're Kenny Pickett. That is ridiculous. He hasn't thrown a touch or an interception in that time, but he's only thrown 2 touchdowns. Pat Freiermuth hasn't played since week 4. He remains the second leading touchdown scorer in the Pittsburgh Steelers receiving core to this point in the season. That's just throw a touchdown. Just throw 1. You don't need to throw 2. You've only done that 1 time in your whole career. Just throw a touchdown. I believe that if Kenny Pickett throws a touchdown and it is on the opening drive, the Pittsburgh Steelers put this one away before halftime. Like I truly believe it, and that's what I'm looking for out of Kenny Pickett. My key to victory is much of the same as you guys. It's very simple. keep the game away from the guys that you have to call up from the practice squad. Don't make this a Trenton Thompson nightmare. Don't make this so much pressure on DeMonte KZ that he can't handle it, or you got to start rushing or putting Darius Rush out there and utilizing him in different ways. Keep it to a point where you are not hitting the emergency button in the secondary and trying to figure out a way to win because who you have out there isn't working out. If you could control the front, if you could shut down the run game, if you could get to the quarterback, you don't have to worry about what Trenton Thompson's doing or what Darius Rush is doing or what Elijah Riley's doing or Miles Killebrew or whoever. As long as you can control that, I feel the Pittsburgh Steelers will be in good hands. I don't know what to expect out of the offense, but I mean, 3 opening drive touchdowns in a row, and you don't have to worry about Trenton Thompson in this game. You should walk away winners, feeling pretty good about that one. With that said, week 11, I don't remember. I think we all picked winners last week. We all went Pittsburgh over Green Bay, so shout out to us. Pittsburgh Steelers at Cleveland Browns. DTR versus Kenny Pickett. 2 practice squad guys starting for the Steelers defense. Steven, we'll start with you. Your score prediction for this one.
Yeah, I really think that the Steelers are going to suffocate this team. I think they're going to put on a pretty good effort against the run. Just given all the guys that the Browns are missing up front. I mean, I like Jerome Ford. I hope he has a good game for fantasy's sake. But I think this is going to be low scoring. It's not going to be pretty. But the Steelers are going to walk away with the win, and everyone's going to, not have that much. Well, they're not going to have that much to complain about it, but they'll find stuff to complain about. I think 17-13 final. Steelers win on the road and quite honestly put a stranglehold on, the AFC North. I feel like they're really going to, I guess, the Ravens are still going to hold that top spot, but they're going to put a ton of pressure on them.
Yeah. 17-13. Low. That's a low scoring game for a game that you're they're going to smother. This is in the Steelers' favor.
Well, I don't think they're going to score very much either. So,
no, that's how the Pittsburgh Steelers win big these days. I 100% agree. 17 points and
one defensive touchdown for the Steelers. I'll give you that one.
All right. That's 2 defensive touchdowns on the season for the Steelers defense against the Browns. That's right. That'd be impressive. All right, Nick, your score prediction for Steelers Browns.
If you think Steven's prediction is low scoring, but I'm gonna go with 13-10 Pittsburgh. It's gonna be a very I could see this one being like a classic AFC North physical slugfest, and you could just see some pretty sloppy play overall from both quarterbacks, potentially both offenses. But the team that makes the less mistakes is going to win in this situation. I think this will be Pittsburgh here. I think a rookie quarterback like Dorian Thompson-Robinson could be prone to some mistakes, get tricked, pre-snap, and then end up throwing into a post-snap rotation. Definitely something to look out for. I'm going to say 13-10. It's going to be an ugly one, but I think Pittsburgh wins.
13. At the beginning of the show, Steven was like, yeah, this is the game for Sunday. The final score is going to be 13-10.
Well, as far as the stakes go, this is the...
Oh, it's the game of the week. Could you imagine, though, watching a football game going, man, this is going to be the best show. This is going to be this is the biggest game of the week. And the final score is 13-10. That's for the fans at home.
Ball.
Man.
That's real ball.
Yeah.
That's
AFC
North
That's that old school AFC North football right there. I agree.
Smash in the trenches, man.
Yeah. This is smash mouth ball. Run the damn football. All right.
Exactly.
With that said, I'm going to go below Steven, a little higher than Nick here because you both talked me down pretty heavily. The Steelers win. I think the Steelers do pull this one out, even if it isn't Cleveland. I think that it seems like it's a much tighter game than the final score gives you, just because I don't believe the Steelers offense gets much kicking at all in this one. I'm going to go 16-7. Steelers only give up a touchdown. They barely let them in to the other side of the 50 through most of the second half, because at some point they're going to put a stranglehold on Jerome Ford. DTR doesn't get much done. I'm going 16-7. This is a defensive one, and one for those Chris Boswell fantasy owners, man. You're loving this season, and you're going to continue to love this season. I'll tell you that right now. But yeah, 16-7, Pittsburgh Steelers win feeling pretty good about that. Hopefully we go 3 in a row, 3 weeks in a row now. We'd be 3 weeks in a row because we all picked Tennessee too. Look at us doing well. All right. With that said, you guys have been waiting all week for one thing and one thing only, and that is to find out if you've won a signed Mean Joe Green or Jack Lambert jersey first. Once again, we got to say thank you guys so much for 20,000 subscribers. It feels phenomenal. This is my favorite thing to do every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so I cannot thank you guys enough. And hopefully more of these are coming as we move forward and hit more milestones. But for right now, so much love, so much appreciation to every single one of you guys, and hopefully we send this into the weekend with the victory on top of you guys getting some jerseys. Let's start with the Jack Lambert jersey here. Boom. Where is it? Signed, sealed, delivered right from TSE Sports. I don't know if you guys are TSE Total Sports Enterprise. There it is. Signed, sealed, delivered. We made the picks beforehand. Can I get a little drum roll here? I don't know. My thing's going. There it is. The winner of the Jack Lambert signed jersey, thank you guys so much once again, is our boy Matt Fleming. Thank you very much. We appreciate you, Matt. We appreciate you entering. Make sure to hit either me or All Steelers on Instagram or Twitter and shoot us your information so that I could send this jersey out, get it to you as quickly as possible. All right, signed, sealed, put in the pile to be shipped. Next one we got here. Mean Joe Green, signed, sealed, yet to be delivered. This is the one that this showed up. I opened it and I went, damn, I might have to keep this. This is ridiculous. It is awesome. It's a good one. This is the big winner. We appreciate everybody who entered once again. Let's get a little drum roll going one more time here. My whole camera shakes as I do this, so I'm gonna let you guys do that. All right, with the signed Mean Joe Green, straight from Total Sports Enterprise jersey, is our boy Ryan Kellerman. Shout out Ryan, huge W on this one for you. Very excited for you. Like I said, I was beyond jealous giving this one away. This is as cool as it gets. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Like I said, for Matt, make sure that you send your information either on Twitter. You could toss your comment in the YouTube comments, but it might get a little washed away with everybody that we got or everything that we got going on. So try to reach out on Twitter or Instagram to me or All Steelers and send us your information, and we'll get this out to you as soon as possible. Shout out to everybody who participated and entered. We will do these as often as we can as we continue to progress and hit more milestones and reach more subscribers and try to give as much stuff away as humanly possible. But congratulations to you guys. We appreciate and love all of you so much. With that said, we're heading out of here. Thank you guys so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/All Steelers Talk. Find us anywhere you get your podcasts, and check out all of our work at allsteelers.com and our pick coverage at InsideThePanthers.com. Enjoy another beautiful day in the Berg and hopefully a victory for the Pittsburgh Steelers this weekend. Peace.